Okay, so what you have to do, it tells us what to do, so that's nice. But basically, you've got this equation y equals x squared plus 4x plus 3, which you should have all written down in your books. You need to basically, first of all, transform it in this form, which is called completing the square. Now, you should know how to complete the square, so I'm just going to talk you through it. But basically, you assume x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals to 0. And then the first step is to kind of look at the coefficient of x. If it's 1, we want to work with that. If not, you factorize the number out of it. That's the first step. So go back to completing the square if you really need extra help with that, but you should be done with that by now. Thanks, guys. So first step, I need to get rid of the plus 3 onto the other side. So all I have to do is minus 3 each side. So I get x squared plus 4x, and then I'm going to leave a bit of space so I can complete the square, and then have minus 3 on this side. So in order to complete the square and figure out what goes in here, all I have to do is look at the coefficient for the b, which is the coefficient of the x term. So I write it down, I divide it by 2, and then I square it. Do we remember this? Okay, great. So next section, all I have to do is kind of simplify it down. I can write the 4 divided by 2 as a different number, so I can write it as 2 squared, and then still write minus 3. Now, because I added plus 2 squared onto the left-hand side, what do I have to make sure I do to the right-hand side? I have to do the same thing. So don't forget this one. I almost forgot it. So don't forget that one. Okay, I can figure out what 4 squared is. 2 squared is. It's 4. So I should be able to simplify that down. So now all I have to do is factorize this using perfect squares. They're perfect squares. So if I go like this, create a bracket with a square, all I have to do is look at this number, write it down, or this variable, and look at what's getting squared and write that down. It's as easy as that. If I expand this, I should get that one if you want to recheck it. But you should be confident that you have the right answer, as long as this square is still present. If it's not present, it means you maybe gone an extra step forward and did 2 squared is 4, and we don't want to put 4 into here. So just be careful. You should be fluent with this now. So minus 3 plus 4 is 1. So here we go. This is what our equation looks like at the moment, but we want to make sure everything's on the left-hand side now. We move the constant term to the right-hand side. We want to bring it back to the left-hand side. So if I want to move the 1 away from here and put it on the left-hand side, I just do the opposite of positive 1, because technically it's positive 1. So I just do take 1 both sides, and then I should have something like this. Hope you're all following so far. So now, hopefully, you notice that it's kind of looking like this form. If I write it next to it, so I'll write a little y equals. I'll copy this form down, so we can compare them side by side. So here we go. It's pretty much done. What's my h value? Let's write it down. H is, it's not 2, because it's always the opposite sign of the positive 2. It's a minus 2. So be careful. What's my k value in this case? Negative 1. Alright, so maybe I'll use some highlighters to kind of help you out. So it's kind of the opposite. So I'll write like opposite sign for that one. Blue, that one's blue. Alright, so my k is negative 1. So I have my h and I have my k, meaning I should know my vertex out of this. So therefore, what's my vertex? It's just the x coordinate is the h, so it's hk, so that becomes minus 2 minus 1. Easy as that. So once you have your completed square equation, it should be super easy to find your vertex. Okay. What else do we need to know to be able to draw this? You might want to know x-intercept, y-intercept, all of those. You also want to kind of quickly have a look at if this is going to be a concave up or a concave down. Have a look at your coefficient. What's our coefficient? 1. So is it going to be a concave up or concave down? Good. So write all of those facts that you need to know before you draw the thing, because you don't want to start to draw and then get a bit confused. You start to draw your coordinates. I might draw this so I can do it accurately. So I've got my vertex, I got my, which way it looks like. It's going to be a concave up, so it's going to look something like that. My x-intercept I don't know yet. My y-intercept I don't know yet. We should be able to figure it out. So I might just put the vertex on the page first. -2, -1. So I'm going to go locate that spot and maybe just put it there and write vertex. -2, -1. So over here is my vertex. -2, -1. It is critical that you label all the points that you use. Don't just do dots and like crosses and then connect them. You need to label them. Okay, so looking at this, I know my graph is probably going to look something like that. So I know that I need my x-intercepts and I need to know my y-intercepts. The rules for x-intercept is basically y is 0, the opposite symbol. For y-intercept, my x is 0. So hopefully that's a bit of a recap from previous years and previous sections. So all I need to do is sub those in. I'm going to start with the x-intercept. Maybe I'll zoom in a bit so you guys can see. This is my equation is this, y equals x squared plus 4x plus 3. So all I have to do is substitute y equals 0. So 0 equals x squared plus 4x plus 3. Now, how do I solve this? There's multiple ways of solving it. You can use your quadratic formula. You can use your graphics calculator, because this is not technically testing you on how to solve an x-intercept. You can also, so let me write all of those options down. Option 1, calculator, obviously, graph function. Option 2, quadratic formula. Option 3, sum and product. You can try that one. Sometimes it's not easiest to write it. But which one do we want to use for this one? Which option? Go for it. Choose one. Some of you want to use calculator. Go for it. Some of you might want to use quadratic formula. Some of you might want to use sum and product. I'm going to use sum and product because I find that easier. I can visualize that it's just simply, where am I going to write this? So you can graph it and find the x-intercepts, or you can go equations, polynomials, and then chuck your ABCs in. Okay, so basically the calculator does a quadratic formula for you. So I already found my x-intercepts, so x is going to be -3 and -1. So I just used sum and product. What is the quadratic formula? So equation. Is it only the little bit? The half top of the equation is the whole thing? Or quadratic formula? All of it. So just a little bit is called discriminant. Okay, so I found it. Were you able to find it? Can you confirm my answers, perhaps? Nish, which one are you solving? Don't just sit there, Cooper. Don't just sit there. Try to find it using one of those methods. Okay. Brilliant. So my answer is correct. Let's find the y-intercept now. All I have to do is substitute x equals 0. This one's much easier. I just go 0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 3, which is just going to be a constant term. So your y-intercept is always going to be the constant term, which makes it easy. So I'm just going to highlight some of the ones that I'll be using, maybe with orange. I'm just going to, we'll do green. So this is the fact that I need to use. These are the facts I need to use. I need this fact. I also need my vertex fact. So those 4 things are kind of the things I'm going to be using. I've already drawn my vertex. So this is what you might want to do. If you've got too much working out on your page, you might want to highlight the boxes you want to use on your graph. I want to use my x-intercepts first. So -1, 1, 2, 3. My y-intercept is 3, 1, 2, 3. And then all I have to do is draw the graph. Easy. Looks something like that. There we go. Can you also draw in your axes of symmetry? You should know what it is. I'm going to leave it blank. You fill it in. Do you reckon you can give it a go? So you should be able to find all of those. So now, it's pretty similar, as I said, to 2D.1, but this extra step you had to do. So it's kind of confirming and testing you on that knowledge of completing the square. If you're not able to do it because you didn't practice it, you're going to really struggle with this part because you're not able to do the first half of the section. So what's my axis of symmetry? -2, it's just that coordinate. Great, I'm done.